Hello, baby.
Hello, nasty.
Hello there. Hello.
I say hello.
Hello, friend.
Well, hello, little girl.
Hello, my treacherous friends.
Hello, operator.
The beginning of everything. Welcome back, my friends.
It's showtime.
Hey everybody, it is the Brink of Sanity, episode 213. Hey,
Yes. We're talking Knicks tonight?
No. No Knicks tonight.
Okay, I know we're not doing, so just for Knicks fans that listen to our show and for Brink fans that, whatever. We're not doing Knicks this week. We're going to switch off a little more with Brink and Knicks because it's the offseason, nothing's going on, so we're going to mix it up a little bit. But I want to talk a little bit of basketball. Are you a little disappointed about the whole, the Cleveland, the finals basically going to suck going forward because Kyrie Irving's injured?
And we just lost all our listeners.
Oh, who cares? Did Austin sign off?
I think so. I don't feel bad at all.
I kind of wanted to see LeBron lose. Well, I want to see LeBron lose either way, but I wanted to see a good series. Game one was actually a pretty awesome game. It went to overtime. It was compelling. You were like, how are they going to stop LeBron? And the Golden State was playing well. They had a comeback early on. And then they blew him out in the overtime, and JR sucked. It was kind of perfect.
It is sad because now all the LeBron apologists are going to come out of the woodworks and say, well, they would have won if blah, blah, blah. If Varejao has been injured for 6 straight years, wasn't miraculously uninjured this year.
They had a compelling case with Kyrie Irving. I mean, they lost Love, and you could argue, well, okay, it wasn't that big of a deal. But losing Kyrie Irving, they're really at a major disadvantage going forward. And so that's kind of disappointing.
True, but I don't think
we don't have to spend too much time on this since we're not actually doing the Knicks show tonight.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jay, I have a better question for you. Do you think psychics should go to jail? Do you believe in psychics generally? Outside of Bry's balloon thing, do you believe in psychics?
I feel like there might be some psychics out there, but I don't believe there's one on every single corner like there is in Manhattan.
So you see a sign in the corner. Every corner in Manhattan has this.
Pretty much, yeah.
$20 psychic reading, palm reading. Do you think the police should bust that person for doing that?
I'm torn. Like, can you blatantly lie about stuff?
But it's pretty well known, or at least the common wisdom here is that these people that are doing the psychic readings are frauds. And so you'd say your $20 is almost for like your own entertainment, right?
How come every single psychic is a single Spanish mother?
They're good. That's where God has intended the single Spanish mothers to have one advantage: their psychic abilities. Except they don't use that to towards the lotto.
But they can see the future.
Right, they can see the future. So, but you think $20, you get some entertainment, not a big deal. And the cops obviously are not busting these people. It's not like the cops are going around. They're not trying to hide their practices. They have a big sign out front, and you don't see cops like rushing in. So the cops are kind of fine with this, right?
I guess most people take it as more entertainment value. I'm sure there's people who, actually, speaking of believing stupid things, I don't know if you heard, a bunch of people started the plastic bag challenge.
What's the plastic bag challenge? Put it on your head and see how long until you pass out?
Yes, it's kind of like the ice bucket challenge, but these people wanted to see if they could get people to be so stupid that they kill themselves. And so they made a whole fake movement, the plastic bag challenge. And there's one that is, you know what a meme is, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's one where it's a meme of a lady with a bag over his head, and the thing says, I know you can't see me, but I'm Angelina Jolie, and I support the plastic bag challenge, blah, blah, blah. And then there's a whole bunch of pictures of people tweeting that they stand behind Angelina Jolie and they're going to try the challenge, which I find absolutely hilarious.
That is pretty funny.
So I think it's kind of like that. Like if you're that stupid, then I guess.
So I have a situation where someone's that stupid.
Okay.
But let's go. So it's like let's say you pay $20. Let's say you paid $100. Should the police step in?
Is it illegal though? That's the problem.
What's illegal? Are
Are
psychics illegal?
I don't think they're illegal.
They're not. We're assuming either they're legal, what they're doing, or the cops don't give a crap about them because they let them go about their business.
I don't think there's anything illegal about it.
Because you're a product that's clearly not real. And some people believe in psychics. So what if someone believes in a psychic and goes back there and spends $1,000 and then finds out this psychic was a fraud? Should he get his money back, or should that person, should the psychic be prosecuted for pretending they were a psychic?
How do you prove you're not a psychic?
Well, if the psychic's in police custody, they didn't see that one coming.
But I mean, do psychics say they're always 100% correct? They're always so vague. It's
let's just say the psychic in the situation, to not dwell here. I don't want to get to the story. Let's say the psychic says, "Yeah, you got me. I was pretending to be a real psychic. I wasn't a real psychic. The guy spent $1,000 with me. Should the cops? Should basically the DA's office prosecute this person?"
I think you could get sued for damages. I would think.
You see, I look at this as general common wisdom is this is not real. And so you go there and you think it's real, but you should have known better. I can't really blame the psychic for doing something that's. I mean, I think this the idea of the psychic in the first place was a fraud, but that we're kind of fine with as a society.
Right, but you can't, like, Cheerios can't say our cereal will make you a professional weightlifter.
But if Cheerios said our Cheerios will give you X-ray vision, and people will be like, okay, and people aren't going to actually believe that.
So you think this falls...
So something that's so outlandish that people are not going to believe.
So you think this falls under the parody rules?
No, that's not parody rules, but just falls under something that's so unbelievable. So anyhow,
well, that's what the parody rules is. It's you're not allowed to directly make fun of somebody because it's slander, but if you make it outrageous, it counts as parody, and then you're allowed to do it.
Right, but that's making fun of someone. This is like, I guess you're selling, like, if I sold you a rock that I said this rock will keep away demons, should I go to jail because I sell a rock that's supposed to keep away demons when demons don't exist in the first place? Okay, so let's go to the story, and then we have a lot more to talk about from the story. This is an interesting story.
Okay.
It was in today's paper, in the Times. Everyone knows that when a man loves a woman, he can't keep his mind on nothing else. He can keep his mind on nothing else. He'll spend his very last dime, give up all his comforts, sleep out in the rain. For a 32-year-old man from Brooklyn, those things actually happened, and much more, during his long quest to be reunited with the woman he loved. Nothing could stop him. No evil spirits haunting him from another realm, not the sins of his past lives, not going broke, not even death. It's worth me reading the whole story. He had an ally in his quest. He said a fortune teller who fought the evil spirits day and night from her storefront in Times Square, according to the accusations that led the police to arrest her last month.
Man, I would love to see her fighting demons outside her
you
store.
have to just keep going with the story here. The police and the man said the fortune teller Priscilla Del Marco, 26, had bled him dry over 20 months. Just take a guess. Just how much money do you think she got out of him?
She won money because a guy was bleeding her dry.
The police and the man said the fortune teller Priscilla had bled him dry over 20 months. So basically, she'd basically taken all his money. He'd given her all his money. How much?
I thought you were talking in like the zombie sense of the way.
No. Just
like every day,
that is a funny.
She extracted a little more of his blood.
That is a funny way. I don't know why they use the word bled in a story about psychic. That must have been kind of their.
This story was so outlandish. I really thought that she was like, well, to see the future, I'm going to need a blood sample, and then eventually he was just like dehydrated.
So what do you think?
I'm going to say $50,000.
Okay, I want to keep reading. But even New Yorkers who have shaken their heads in disbelief at the fortune-telling scams in the past, who could fall for that, may be surprised by the outlandish creativity described in this case, the eye-popping payouts the man made, and the almost unfathomable gullibility that it took to get to that number.
I mean, we read a story years ago where a lady spent her entire husband's retirement fund of like a couple $100,000. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was ridiculous.
So I mean, we're going to talk about maybe we'll talk about this compared to Nigerian scams in a second. But so long past the point which many people would have become suspicious, the endless need for special crystals, the time machine, the 80-mile bridge made of gold, the reincarnation portal, he kept paying until he was living his own grim version of the movie Ghost. So this man, let's go a little forward. he was the man. He had a good job. This in summer 2013. This man was melancholy. He had a good job in marketing with an office in New York, some support staff, and a growing list of connections. But he had met a woman in Arizona named Michelle. He was in love. She was not. The girl didn't want to be with me, and the girl said categorically, made that clear. He wrote in his statement. In August 2013, he goes to this. He sees the neon sign, goes into the psychic place. Miss Del Maro greeted him and assured him, she was like 24 at the time, assured him that he and Michelle were twin flames, but that negativity was keeping them apart. Spirits talked to me, she said, according to the man's statement, but there was a price. He paid her $2,500, and after a second visit, $9,000 more. So right away,
Whoa.
it starts out pretty bad.
He knows that normal psychic visits are like $20, right?
Not, I guess apparently she was really good. That's why she has a storefront in Times Square.
Did this come with like blowjobs?
I hope he was nailing her. A month later in September, Miss Del Maro told him she needed diamonds to protect the energy.
You know what? I give her props for doing that.
And by the way, this man, you'll see this man probably did very well financially to have all this money.
Well, yeah, if he's spending $2,500,
He paid
very first pop.
$40,064 for a ring from Tiffany's and gave it to Miss Del Maro, who promised he would use it as an engagement ring someday, the man said. $40,000 for a ring to fight off evil spirits.
I can't feel bad for this guy at all.
Michelle lived in Los Angeles. Go to her, Miss Del Maro said. He went. He texted Michelle. I'm on a boat, she replied, but let's meet tomorrow. I was ecstatic, he wrote. They met and talked and made plans for that night, but she backed out. She felt I had been acting strange, he wrote. Yes, you were acting very strange.
Yeah, I would say so.
Miss Del Maro told him the trouble had come from a spirit that was stalking him. Mm-hmm. She needed $28,000, then $28,000 more. Michelle had grown cold, so suddenly he thought that the spirit explanation sounded right, and so he paid.
Yeah, he's like, well, this totally seems reasonable now.
You know that book, He's Not That Into You? There's a sequel coming out. She's not that into you because of evil spirits.
Which can be cured with diamonds and $56,000.
This girl I was trying to get with acted a bit strange. You know, girls don't act strange without evil spirits. I'm going to pay $56,000.
Girls don't act strange when you travel across the entire country without telling them and then announcing your presence at their doorstep.
Maybe because you were the guy that would pay this in the first place, she thought you were strange. I would love to see the picture of this girl. She must. I hope she's like a supermodel.
She guaranteed she's not.
When that didn't work, surprised this didn't work, the evil spirit thing. Miss Del Maro said she needed a time machine to go back and cleanse his past.
Yes.
By the way, all this stuff is really expensive. Like when the man balked, like, I'm not going to give you money for a time machine. I mean, I understand evil crystals. She said a suitable watch would do the job and gave him a list of choices. He said that he selected one of the cheaper ones, a rose gold Rolex for $30,000. Can you imagine just the visit to the store? Oh, wow, you're getting that watch. Is that watch for your wife? No, for a spirit catcher who's going to get me my wife.
It's a substitute for the time machine.
I'm not going to fall for the time machine thing. I'm just going to give her a $30 watch.
I draw the line at time machines.
I feel like I read this story. It was like, and it like there should have been something on the story saying, "Please read tonight on Brink of Sanity." In December, Miss Del Maro said that they had to lure the spirit over a bridge of gold in the other realm.
You know what? You know, after every meeting with this guy, she's meeting with her friends, and they're just having a couple drinks of, $7,000 scotch because they can afford that now, and they're thinking like, how can we up this and make this more ridiculous and see if this guy falls for it?
Like,
they would
maybe they're having a
list.
contest. What's the dumbest thing we can come up with that he'll fall for? He didn't fall for the time machine, but maybe he'll fall for $80,000 for an 80-mile bridge.
Exactly. Wait, that was the next thing?
That's the next thing. Sold. He won for this. So two things. First, $80,000 he gave her for an 80-mile bridge sounds insane, but if the guy is smart enough to know, a bridge costs hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even know where an 80-mile bridge would go to the outer. Where does he think he? Where does he think? Like he gives her the $80,000, and then she goes to, like, to buy parts for the bridge. How do you think she's using the money?
And does he think that New York to California is 80 miles?
Miss Del Mar, maybe it's to the other world. Miss Del Mar, it should be noted, promised to return most of the money when her work was done. By year's end, the bill had reached more than. Want to take a guess?
Doing some quick math in my head, I'm going to say 350,000.
320.
Yeah.
$320,000 within 1 year. So he has to have a lot of cash on hand and has to be smart enough to have gotten the cash and dumb enough to lose this cash.
That's the thing. How does a guy that is able to earn that much money still be that stupid? And why am I broke?
So, I love the idea that she was going to return it. What was she using the money? Like, was she building the bridge out of $80,001 bills?
She was leaving them in the freezer so they got nice and crisp.
The spirit was crossing the bridge, albeit very slowly, the man wrote. That is she over the bridge yet? Oh, the spirit.
We don't even have to make jokes. We'll just read this story the whole episode. This is ridiculous.
The spirit only walks at 1 mile per hour, so it's going to take a while before it hits the 80 miles.
Yeah, at least 100 hours. You know this guy can't do math anymore, so you could say something longer than 80 hours.
The spirit tripped and broke its leg. It's going to take another 8 weeks. Then Miss Del Mar said they needed a second bridge for Michelle's spirit, and it needed to be 10 miles longer than the first one. Because why not?
Because at this point, we're not even going to try and make sense.
I thought to myself, I have the money just sitting in the bank, the man wrote, paying out $90,000. If any part of the story, it doesn't go to her giving him magic beans, but if it did, you wouldn't be that surprised.
In fact, it would probably be a step in the right direction at this point.
Because
we're talking about dual bridges for one lady's spirit. I would think magic beans would actually be closer to reality.
They had to have sat around and say, he just gave you $80,000 for an 80-mile bridge. What is the dumbest possible thing you could say to him to get him to buy next? A second bridge that's 10 miles longer. What? And she had to. I assume she just didn't say, "Oh, I need another bridge, 90,000 miles." Like, I'm sure there was some more convincing going with it. She probably sounded pretty convincing. If you're mentally retarded. The thing is, it's just it's. If you told me the guy had Down syndrome, it would make sense, except for the fact he shouldn't have had the money.
I don't know. I would be like, even retarded people aren't that retarded.
Did you ever see the movie The Invention of Lying?
No. Is it a documentary on this guy?
So it's Ricky Gervais. It's a world. It's pretty funny. It's like a one-joke movie, but pretty funny. It's a world where lying does not exist. And Ricky Gervais' character comes up with the idea of lying, and people just believe him because no one's ever heard of a lie before. So he tells this one scene where he tells some woman, just stops her in the street and goes, "We have to sleep together or the world will end." And she's like, "Oh, okay, let's go right now," because she assumes he's telling the truth.
That sounds like Jim Carrey's new movie.
It's actually like there's some pretty funny parts. It's kind of a play. It's a one-joke movie, but pretty funny. It's funny. But anyway, I feel like this guy must live in that world. He just assumes anything she says must be real except for the time machine, because that sounds outlandish. Then he made a devastating discovery. On February 17th, 2014, he pulled up Michelle's Facebook page and read the most recent post. Michelle was dead. She'd been for 9 days. He had hired a private detective, and they said there might be a drug overdose.
Wait, what kind of post is he pulling up? How do you post after you're dead?
Someone must have. I don't know. They didn't get into the details there. The man shattered told Miss Del Mar, she pivoted. "I told you she had an evil spirit," she said. "They killed her." Del Mar then told me she was going to reincarnate Michelle, the man wrote.
For a cheap price of $300,000.
I love the fact that the love interest died and Psychic just doesn't even miss a beat.
Yeah, that is a true salesman.
The new Michelle wouldn't be exactly like the old one, but her spirit would be placed in the body of a 31-year-old woman. 1 year and many payouts passed. By then, Mr. Morrow said she was working so many hours on his behalf that she had no time to tell fortunes and was behind in the rent. He he sent money, even borrowing $28,000 from a colleague that he guaranteed with his future earnings until it finally ran out. You know who's the dumbest person of all here? The colleague that loaned him $28,000.
Who would load anybody $28,000?
I mean, I'm sure in his world of the guy had a lot of money. So it seems like the guy had hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank. Maybe his friends did also. Maybe the guy like saw he was in a terrible situation. I need $28,000.
Keyword had.
I'm just. Well, he said he guaranteed with future earnings. So apparently he's going to make a lot of money. So
So
maybe the guy thought he was legitimately could pay him back.
So at this point, he's down about $500,000.
No. I'm going to get to that number soon. I'm broke, he told Mr. Morrow, after selling his car and borrowing from friends and relatives in addition to the colleague.
Oh, my God.
The new Michelle was in Los Angeles, he told him. Go find her. He met a woman in California that Mr. Morrow later said was the new Michelle. But the woman was 24, not 31. That's the big tip-off. And Michelle did not seem to be inside her. How would you even know? He had lost his apartment. He had enough, and he had enough, and returned to New York. He sought out Mr. Knight. This is his private detective, and they went to the police in May. Bank statements were given to detectives. He was out. Guess the total.
$1.2 million.
Nah. I'm $713,975.
Oh my God. Wow.
Mr. Omar and her companion, Bob Evans, were arrested and charged with grand larceny and remain in jail. The man recalled his disappointment upon meeting the new Michelle. This caused me to start thinking, he wrote, that Delmara wasn't everything she purported to be.
He just began thinking that.
He should have paid for the time machine.
He's
She
like,
would
you
have.
know, I
That's
think
what you should come back with. Like, if you had paid for the time machine, everything would have been fine. But that's where he went wrong.
This is your fault because I had to make my own makeshift time machine. We went to an alternate reality where Michelle is 24 and not 31. So you screwed it all up.
So here's my question for you. Mm-hmm. So the police have arrested him. The police have seen, like, I guess, the fine line between $20 for a psychic reading and $713,000. Somewhere in there is the line where the police will arrest you. Do you think the police should really prosecute this woman?
I don't think so. I don't think lying is... Am I wrong? Is there not a rule against lying?
You can't commit fraud. I can't lie to you in about the performance of a stock. I can't lie to you about a car.
Right.
There are a lot of things I can't lie to you about. But can I lie to you about the existence of evil spirits?
Well, if not, shouldn't church get arrested?
That's her defense. The Pope does it every day.
I mean, has it ever been proven that there's a devil?
I
don't know.
So let's just do a little comparison.
He willingly gave it to
Do
him.
you think the people that get conned by the Nigerian scammers, like the old people that fall for things like, oh, we thought it was an official White House at Yahoo address. Do you think those people, like the people that defraud, should go to jail?
Yeah, that's a legitimate fraud, I guess. So yeah, I guess.
I feel like there's some basis in reality. But my coworker also got a new one the other day that was, instead of the money being from Nigeria, it was an Iraqi war veteran who recovered, or in Afghanistan or Iraq.
The thing is, with those Nigerian scams, you're literally saying you are somebody who you're not. So
you're saying you're a psychic, you're not. But you're saying, here's the thing, you're saying you have a certain amount of money that you're going to transfer to them, and you never transfer the money. So I feel like that's more of a fraud. Here, instead of transferring money, you're transferring demons.
You know, I think at some point she did cross the line.
Where did she cross the line? I mean, the whole thing is obviously, she's obviously picking at someone that's quite vulnerable. But her entire business is about finding vulnerable people.
But I mean, I think you cross the line when you say you're going to pay them back, or you say, there's one thing with advice. I think that's where the psychics get away with it. They say, give me $20 and I'm going to give you advice on your future. right? But I think she crossed the line from advice to like fraud.
I think the part about her giving the money back maybe is the biggest fraud. Like the only thing that sounds like real fraud to me. I think the whole you give me $80,000, I'm going to build you an 80-mile bridge for spirits.
That's a verbal contract. It's stupid, but it's a contract, and she didn't build the bridge.
Well, it's a contract for an impossibility. Since I don't think you can make it a contract for an impossibility. Like you can't contract with me for me to like fly to Jupiter. If it's impossible to do, we can't have a contract for it.
This is an interesting one to see if like this person actually gets prosecuted or that's
if they're prosecuted, what do you do? Like does she have to give whatever money's remaining over? I feel like the person shouldn't spend time in jail.
Right.
I mean, you can't be like if you're going to accept that her services, that she could provide psychic services, maybe she says, I built the 80-mile bridge. You guys can't just see it because you don't have the powers.
I would love if she just stuck with this the rest of her life.
She just says like the whole time, I did everything. Everything is true. I went for the evil spirits, and the 24-year-old had Michelle in her. He apparently didn't know Michelle very well. That's all. What do you want from me?
The bridge was catered to his soul, and since you're not his soul, you can't see it.
Yeah, I mean, like, why would he come back to me for a second bridge if the first bridge didn't work?
I really hope she sticks to this.
Oh my God! And this guy, it just seems like the police should just say, this is too dumb for us to help you, but you should go to a screenwriter and make a story about this. This could be a movie. You could somehow make money off this story.
The problem is if they made this a movie, they would say it's too unrealistic.
Yeah, it's too. If you heard this was a movie, you would say, well, this is too outlandish. This is too idiotic.
Right, can we tone it down a little bit because nobody's going to believe this happened.
Like, this is like a Jurassic Park seems more believable than this.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like not even close. If the whole story was you gave $700,000 to go to an island of dinosaurs, would you put the person in jail?
Michael Crichton, if you've read Jurassic Park, actually explained how all that can happen.
What, they find the DNA, they do blah blah. Well, it can't act.
He read like, if you look at he has a bibliography. He read like 50 books on like actual DNA and all that shit. Like it's actually based in like sort of reasonable explanations.
Okay, so that one's probably too.
He
reasonable.
said they like found DNA in fossilized mosquitoes, and the blood that they sucked from the dinosaurs gave them enough DNA. So like it was kind of at least based in some sort of reality.
Yeah, I figured it had to be based in some sort of reality. Anyway, I can't. This story is unfathomable.
It's amazing. I love that story.
You know what the best part of the story is? He goes to work the next day. It sounds like people work under him because he's obviously made a lot of money anyhow.
Yeah.
And people come to work and go, wait a second. I'm just not just smarter than my boss. My boss is actually. I can't believe this guy's my boss.
He's a madman. He's literally insane.
You're like, I don't know. Last Christmas, I asked for a raise. I should have just said I could connect it to your dead spouse for $8 million.
I mean, this is like the definition of a madman, right? He's out of his mind.
No, I guess he's like just super depressed. He believes in spirits, and he's just like kind of just falls for her ruse. But I have trouble calling it a ruse because what she's coming up with is so outlandish.
This is why I said it falls under the parody rule. Like she's being a parody of a psychic at this point.
Psychic. Well, I don't think it falls under. I don't think that's the correct use of parody. But I guess like this is what is probably most comparable is to religion.
Mm-hmm.
Like a non-accepted religion, like Scientology. Scientology. Should you put people in Scientology for? I guess you're right. Like, no one's proven the existence of the devil.
Right.
Anyway, this story is insane.
Yeah. Okay.
And like there's someone comment on New York Times like but basically the first half made them laugh out loud. Then eventually they just get really sad for how lonely and awful this person is. Yeah, I mean this guy couldn't just like.
I have such mixed emotions on this story.
Like didn't he have one friend who was like, wait, you're doing this an 80-mile? You're gonna give her a what are you doing? Well, I mean, like, do you want me to get one for you also?
I mean, that's more affordable than the time machine.
Oh my god! And so, what if it was instead of this guy who lost all his money, you found out Bill Gates gave her $80 million? Would you want her in jail? Because Bill Gates has billions of dollars, so he's totally fine financially. Would you want to put her in jail for taking $80 million from Bill Gates?
I don't think it really changes the situation.
Well, I feel like they feel so bad for this guy that they're like, okay, now we want to prosecute her because the guy's broke. But I feel if the guy was like a multimillionaire, they would just say
It makes it less hilarious.
well, it would just be a funny story. You're like, you're so stupid, and like the police would be like, it's not even worth our time. You're a multimillionaire. You have money. You're not really hurt by this.
Yeah, this guy's life is literally like completely ruined.
I mean, I guess she should have like not gone on for the kill with all these. I'm going to reincarnate Michelle.
That's
Okay. Let's move forward for the.
all right. Let's do some Facebook questions.
We have a lot of questions.
All right. I'll
wait,
read.
I have another 28-page article I want to read.
I'll start off with the questions.
Wait, before we do that, I have one review to read on iTunes.
Oh,
someone
nice.
wrote us a review on iTunes, and we read them on the show. And we'd love to read more reviews on the show if you people out there would write them. Love this podcast by Just Ed. Great show, guys. I actually enjoy when Bry is on the show. Keep it up, Ed. Thank you, Ed. Or are you reading? Okay, that's the extent of the.
Awesome.
Are you reading
Well,
all the Facebook questions?
Yeah, I'll read some of the questions. Those reviews really do help us in the rankings too. By the way.
Yes. We with that review, we moved from 1,227 to 1,212. It was a huge day.
That's probably pretty accurate. William
Okay.
writes, "What is the best food you guys have?"
Can I,
tasted?"
before you go, which list are you reading from? There's 3 lists to read from.
You do the Knicks ones. I'll do the Brink ones.
Well, I'm just saying there's the ones from last week and the ones from
Yeah, I'm
this
doing
week.
last week's Brink ones right now.
Okay, go for it.
William writes, "What is the best food you guys have tasted in Brooklyn? Like a restaurant you guys highly recommend?" Did we read? I feel like we read all these.
Where are you reading from? What date?
You know what? I actually did read those.
What date do you have?
That was May 22nd.
May
Okay.
29th.
May-
Jay, this is why you don't read on Facebook.
I
You
know.
can't even keep the date right.
Okay. Steven writes,
Okay.
"What would Mark do if his wife divorced him and took full custody of the children without visitation, but then said she can reverse everything conditional upon him having sex with a tranny who is also a midget?"
And he added, note, it's the full experience, not just oral. And Liam writes, you, my friend, are on the brink of sanity. LOL. So what would I do if my wife could go just take custody of the kids and leave? Because apparently you can do that with as long as the condition to getting her back is a tranny who's also a midget. Should I say that the midget part is the deal breaker?
Our one midget
I love
listener is
my
like-
kids. I love my wife. I will do whatever the tranny midget wants to do with me.
What would Jay do if his girlfriend gave him the ultimatum to either move back to her country of origin or end the relationship forever?
Ooh. So his girlfriend, can we say where she's from?
Sure.
Thailand. I've been to Thailand. I think it's a pretty beautiful country. Jay, would you move to Thailand?
I would say send me a postcard and let me know how it is. It gets to over 100 degrees. I get cranky at like 80 degrees. There's no way I can live in a country where it gets to like 110 for 3 months straight.
I went
think
there
I would literally
once
die.
for 2 weeks in the summer.
Did you?
Maybe it was the summer. Maybe it was like April or May. But I remember being in Bangkok and being really hot. I was covered in sweat.
You went in their fall.
Okay, that's the better part of the year?
Yeah, I heard January, February is where it's like 110.
Holy crap. I once went to Arizona in August. It was like 110 degrees outside. It was unbearable to be outside.
Exactly. I cannot imagine living somewhere like that.
What if it was like China or like Japan? Country, I don't know the weather exactly in those countries, but like say it's more moderate, like similar weather patterns to us.
I wouldn't be opposed to Japan. I've always wanted to go there.
For life?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't care. I mean,
How do you feel about moving to a country where you don't speak the language? And you like have I don't know how much Thai you understand, but like in general,
not much. Like, I know like 6 phrases at this point.
You've been together for how long? And you've been
I learn 1 phrase per year.
So how do you feel about a country like? I feel like you go to Spain, you'll catch on to stuff eventually. I feel like in like China, you might be screwed for a while.
You would have to make an effort. You would have to go to classes. You would have to put in a huge amount of effort to learn that. It's not something where you can. The words are similar.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The words are so, I guess, quote unquote, foreign from our language that nothing's gonna catch. You're not gonna catch on to the crap.
Right.
So yeah, how do you feel about that part of it? Like, it's like going to a place also where it's not like an English friendly, not like when you're in Spain and like a lot of people there speak English.
On the other hand, if you're a tall white guy in Japan, the women really like that.
That wouldn't be like the part about that is that you'd be going with your girlfriend.
Right, but if it didn't work out, you would have an excellent backup plan.
Fair enough.
Would you rather wear a Brooklyn Nets hat and jersey for the rest of your life or a New York Yankees hat and jersey for the rest of your life?
Brooklyn.
Yankees.
Okay, but I'm an actual baseball fan. You're not. Mets are my even though I love the Knicks, the Mets are my number one.
And when I grew up, a Yankees fan. Ken writes, what would you say to the media if you were Josh Duggar?
I would say there's like 19 of us. Who cares? I molested a couple of us.
I think
is Josh the molester or the parent?
He's the molester. Wouldn't you say something like, my parents forbade me to even kiss a girl until I got married and I was a teenager with hormones. What do you think was going to happen?
Yeah, I would say you've seen this show. I'm probably not the only one messed up in this family.
I would say Jim Bob molested us and we just carried the tradition down.
I mean, it's one of those things that I know most of these criminals have messed up past, but you see like this kind of, like the guys, it's a pretty tough life to make it through and not to be completely messed up. I don't understand how he molested his sisters and the dad was like, whatever, try not to do that again.
No, he sent him away.
Oh, he sent him away. I don't know the whole story.
He sent him away to a guy who is now in jail for child pornography.
What?
You didn't hear about that?
I don't know the story. Tell me the story.
His son confessed to what he did.
How old were the sisters at the time? I don't know the whole
5.
story. And he was how old?
15.
Holy shit.
And also a girl that they were babysitting. So I think it was like 3 sisters and a girl they were babysitting.
Okay.
So he was feeling them up while they were sleeping, and then he admitted to his parents. His dad said, "Oh, that's really bad. We're going to send you away to this other guy, and he's going to tell you, he's going to like reform you." But this guy who was supposed to reform them happened to be a pedophile. And
you kind of see that coming. The guy that says he's going to reform the pedophile is probably a pedophile himself.
it's a whole network. They all look out for each other. And so the parents waited until the statute of limitations expired to come out with this story. And then they said that everything is okay because God has forgiven them all.
I wonder if it's the statute of limitations of on them hiding the crime. Like, I don't know what the exact term would be, but
well,
could
they
you,
found
just
out.
on a different note related to this.
Mm-hmm.
I have kids.
Mm-hmm.
Forgetting about your kids being molested, which is pretty awful. Let's just say your kid was the 15-year-old that did this. Mm-hmm. What would you do? I mean, I get the idea of wanting to turn them over, but I also get the idea that you like absolutely love your kid, and you're like just so devastating. Like, I can't believe this is happening right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not sure that I would have been so quick to turn them into the authorities like people are saying they should have. But I also would not have come out and implied that it was the daughter's fault for being so seductive at 5 years old.
Is that what they came out with?
They kind of implied that.
Is this the hot daughter? They have like a pretty hot daughter.
She's kind of hot now, yeah.
Oh, well, then I can see what happened. I mean, maybe it's like totally fine then.
Yeah, I mean, you could totally tell at 5 how hot a girl's going to be.
It's just like I think about like if your son just did something really terrible, like or my son like murdered someone, you'd be like, what the hell? Like, I don't want to like cover up murder.
Well, that's the thing. I get protecting your kid, but then you also fucked over one of your other kids, so it's
that's the problem. I like him a lot better than the daughters. I mean, if it was a girl that screwed up, I would just like
Well, in their fucked up family, like girls are pretty much baby factories. So,
I mean, everything's fucked up about 19 kids.
yeah.
I don't think there should be limits on like official limits on how many kids you have, but I think this day and age, any more than 2, kind of have to be. You're a bit of an a. I guess 3 kids is okay. After that, it really gets to like you're being an asshole.
3 kids gets you the raised eyebrow.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like we're not repopulating the earth. I get maybe if you're like, oh wait. I know I have 5 kids, but did you know I have a farm?
4 kids, I'm starting to ask you questions like, you do know condoms exist, or there's other things to do. Like you can not have kids, right? You that.
Could adopt. There are a lot of kids that don't have parents. Why don't you do that?
Right. There's birth control. There's getting your tubes tied. You know about all these things, right?
I mean, 19. I just what. So yeah, I guess like I guess it's just like such a weird like you find out your son did this, he did this to your daughter. I mean, I guess they thought this would be a way to handle it, and they're in the same mindset that thinks you should have 19 kids is that they believe people can like reverse this.
Yeah, I mean that girl's gonna be fucked up.
Yeah, I think she's gonna be fucked up.
You know what's gonna happen? She's gonna be a huge slut.
Most huge sluts were molested by their 10-year-old older sibling. I also, well, first of all, there has to be more than one incident. It wasn't like this happened one time.
No, it happened. They already said it happened over between when he was like 14 to 17.
Was he the only family member, or was he molested when he was a kid?
That hasn't come out yet, but I would not be surprised.
It's the Duggar way. We molested. It's part of growing up. You get molested. Come on.
Well, how do you think we make it to 20 without a peck on the lips?
Yeah. So I guess what Josh should say is, I love my dad. That's it.
I love my dad.
I love my dad. And because he made me love him when I was 5 years old, that's my sister. Okay.
Rosera writes, have you heard of this stupid Charlie challenge?
We've not heard of anything.
I have heard of this.
What is the Charlie challenge?
Charlie challenge is a Mexican demon. So what you do is you
wait. How many bridges do I need?
No bridges. You need a piece of paper. You draw a cross, and then in each quadrant you write yes, no, yes, no.
Okay. And then how many times do I say Candyman?
No Candyman in this one, but it's very similar. Okay. So after you make the cross and you write the yes, no, then you balance 2 pencils in a cross over the 2 lines you just drew. Okay? Has to be pencils, number 2.
How dumb am I that I already have lost track of what you're doing?
It's all right. It's a plus symbol. And in each quadrant,
just go with it.
You write yes, no on the top and no, yes on the bottom. Can you picture that in your head?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Then you balance 2 pencils over the cross that you just drew. And then you say, Charlie, are you here? Charlie, do you want to play? And then the top pencil will move over to the yes if he's around and wants to play.
And if he wants to play, then what happens?
Then apparently you just upload that video to YouTube.
And what happens then?
Then
I mean, what happens in the video? They
every
play
single
Yahtzee?
video I watched was like the pencil moved over to yes, and then people screamed and said, "Oh my god, it's real."
Okay,
that means you have a demon in your house, or basically you just precariously balance pencils onto each other, and eventually it fell over.
Yeah, Also, let's just say I don't have any proof demons don't exist. Mm-hmm. Let's say they do exist. What am I going to do about it?
Not summon them?
Yeah, or just go, okay, they exist. I will deal with this when it becomes a problem for me.
What I would do is just not fuck with them.
Yeah. What would you rather do, Jay? Would you rather go to the bathroom and say Candyman 3 times at midnight?
5.
Or would you rather this?
Candyman's 5, Beetlejuice is 3.
Oh, who cares?
Get your fucking summoning in front of a mirror correct.
Okay. Which one would you go with?
What? You didn't name... too.
The Candyman or this dumb thing, this Charlie thing. I'm not giving you Beetlejuice because I'm sure that would be the obvious answer.
It sure would. Beetlejuice would be kind of fun. Candyman or Charlie? I've not seen what Charlie does. I know Candyman has a hook hand and he will hook your face.
He seems to. It always ends up bad according to those movies. So
I would probably go with Charlie just because I know the end game for Candyman.
yeah, maybe play means he just molests you,
Right.
and then Josh Duggar goes, "Yeah, high five."
That's much better than a steel hook to the forehead. Rosero writes, have you guys ever had stalkers?
No, not really.
The closest I've come was Fun Sponge. Listen to episode 7 for the complete Fun Sponge epic.
There was a when I first met my wife. It was at like a volunteer event, and I guess I was like one of the leaders of the event, one of like the quote unquote like leaders for the event.
Mm-hmm.
And halfway through the event, my friend's like, "What's up with that girl that's like following you around?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And anyway, so it ended up being my wife. And from then on, since my friend and I always say she was stalking me.
Wait, but it wasn't your wife at the time.
Obviously, I didn't know this girl at the time, but later on, ended up becoming my wife.
Okay.
So we said she was stalking me, but it was I had asked her out by the end of the day.
Okay.
So it wasn't so. Trying to think of anything else that was no, nothing else really. Oh, man, nothing else really that good.
All right.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. Nothing else. Nothing. I'm just thinking like that's a bad. That's not. None of them are very good stories. Go on.
Cool. I'm going to make myself a beverage. I will be right back.
Whatever.
All right. If you guys want to call in, the number is 631-676-1181. Rosero writes,
How are you be able to talk with all the phone ringing?
I'm trying to blot all the ringing out.
Okay.
It's hard. Rosero writes, has Mark, well, this is also when we're offline. It's not just the live number. So if you want to leave a voicemail, we can play that later.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Rosero writes, has Mark or Jay ever been cheated on by their girlfriend or boyfriend?
Closest I dated some girl who basically just started dating some other guy like right afterwards, and they were kind of like basically getting close while we were dating. They were like they were just like doing a school project thing together, and by the end of it, it was clearly like
Something was gonna happen.
something probably would have happened if we had kept dating.
I think that's what happened with one of my, like, I noticed there was a lot of stories about this one guy, and she swear they...
And then me and Mike, and then Mike had his cock in me.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, she swear they never did anything while we were together, but it ended up being the guy she married and had kids with. So, like, it definitely would have come to that if we had,
I feel like it's like they had like in their head, I can't be a cheater, but I could do everything like emotionally because that doesn't count.
Exactly.
Which is pretty much kind of, it's not the exact same thing, but it's almost like you almost prefer they cheated you once and didn't have the emotional connection while you were dating them.
Yeah, that would have been almost better.
Yeah.
So I probably could have dealt with that a little.
Whatever.
Okay. Let's see. One guy was asking, William is writing, how did our forum views go from 3,000 per guest host to like the low 100s? And that's because we actually had spam bots like trolling our forums. And, it was
There's not going to be a story about how we used to get a lot of comments.
no, it was out of control. I had actually had spam bots making about 50 accounts per day, and then like spam posting, and we had to get this guy Ben, who was on the show once, to figure out the problem and like get all of them to leave. It was.
What's the benefit? Like, what? Why is the spam bot there? Like, is someone in the? Is there a bottom line where someone's making money off of this?
I guess some people are idiots and they click on the links the spam bots post, but like, I mean, you got to be a real. I mean, I guess there's enough idiots out there that would click on those things.
I mean, do you think the guy with the lost mind, the psychic, is also like? I also have a case against these spam bots.
Right. I don't know. I really don't. I don't understand how they're making that much money.
And also, this pill, my dick's the same length. And also,
William writes, does Mark or Jay listen to gangster rap?
I like my occasional gangster rap. I like some rap.
Mark, I think, likes more rap than I do. which is probably surprising a lot of people right now.
Is it gangster rap and regular rap? Are they different? Is gangster like when it's like NWA?
Well, I mean, like I was playing Beastie Boys while I went and got a drink. That's not gangster rap.
That is not gangster rap.
I listen to Mr. Fab.
I like Kanye. I like my other favorites. I like Talib Kweli. I like Mos Def. I like The Roots. I don't know if any of those are really gangster though. I like Dre. I like Tupac, Biggie. Maybe those fit a little more.
I don't think I like any of them.
No, nothing.
I like Del the Funky Homo Sapien. And
don't know that one.
And I like Mr. Fab.
Mr. Fab.
Mr. Fab writes a song about ghost riding your car. And it's amazing.
Cool.
Yeah. Check it out.
Overforce me, not me. I get in and scrape. Time marks in the streets look like figure eights. Sideshow, you know where I'm going in the north.
They use the Ghostbusters theme. It's amazing.
I don't know Mr. Fab. Maybe
That's about as gangster as it gets for me.
American Pharaoh today won the Triple Crown in horse racing.
Cool. Yeah, I was at a bar while the race was going on, and all these people were cheering, and I'm like, really? All these people like
Horse racing.
Horse racing. I think they just like drinking beer and yelling.
I was at home by like around kids' bedtime or close to it. It's 6:41. I'm like, oh. I look at the time, 6:50. I'll put this on in like a few minutes, and like maybe my son will watch this with me. And then at 7:30, I remembered it was on. So I missed it. Then I had to check. I was like, oh, they won the Triple Crown. Okay. Moving on.
Yeah. Have you guys ever won money or won lottery? I won $1,000 in New York scratch-off ones.
Whoa, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think I've won more than 20.
I won $2 in Powerball once.
Yeah, it's either 20 or 40 was the most I ever won. It's not good.
I had at a casino once. I had like a system for roulette, which if you have a system, it goes poorly. You put like $5 down. If you win, you put another $5 down. If you lose, you put 10. If you lose, you put 20. If you lose, you put 40. Basically, you're making up your past bet and putting a little more down each time.
Hedging your bets, yeah.
I think I got to like $60 bet, which was like all the money I possibly had. And then I won. And I was like, my heart was racing. I was like, oh, yeah. And then I got back up to again, like some number around that time. And I won again. And after but I don't know how long this all took. I think I had 2 heart attacks during it. And I think I'd end up with like $30.
Yeah, it's basically a way to just break even in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you can keep going, the thing is like, the problem is that you can't keep, eventually your number, you'll probably hit red like you wanted to, but you have to have enough money to keep bankrolling it.
Right.
Which I did not. But next.
Liam writes, why do white girls like to suck cock more than other races?
I don't know, Liam.
I don't think that applies for Jewish girls. I heard Jewish girls really hate to suck cock.
I thought the stereotype was the opposite.
Really? Is that
yeah, that's my experience has been. Or at least we'll at least do it.
I'm trying to think because I've dated a bunch of Jewish women. Yeah, actually, in my experience, the Jewish women have done it more than others.
Yeah, I thought that was the stereotype.
So then I guess this question does apply.
So why? What races? I have not noticed that.
I heard black girls do not like to suck cock at all.
I've not been with any. So,
well, that was the next question. Has Mark ever dated a black girl?
The answer is no.
It says if not, he is kind of a little racist. LOL.
Kind of a lot racist, probably. I don't know. It's a weird conundrum. They should do a study on that.
They should. I don't get why some races would like it and some would not.
You ever see those studies where it comes out where they're studying like chimpanzees or something, and you're like, well, this is idiotic. At least then they have below it. Oh, the scientists also studied what race likes sucking cock more, and you'd be like, oh, that was a worthwhile study.
Yeah, that's actually. I would donate to that.
Actually, I'm not going to go and read the whole story, but I had another story I was going to read for break that I'm not going to read now because the story was so much better. Mm-hmm. But there was a story about there was a study done to see if chimpanzees can cook meat. Awesome. Do the chimpanzees could they cook, and do they like cooked food?
Do they like food?
They cooked food. Like they basically came up with this stupid New York Times video. Okay, they came up with this machine that made it like it was like they would close they put the food in there, they close it, and they'd open it, and the food would be cooked because they didn't actually want the chimpanzees operating an actual stove. And then the chimpanzees would eat the cooked food and seem to prefer to cook food. And then the guy who's like the main guy was like, I think we actually put them with an oven, they'd figure out how to use the oven.
Yeah, no duh.
But maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. I can't believe human beings spend time doing this.
That's true.
Why would you? Who gives a crap?
Even if you find out that they do like cooked meat more, so.
Like I imagine the guy goes to his PhD reunion, and they're like, "Oh, how's it going? Oh, the AIDS research, we're getting pretty close. What about you? We're trying to figure out whether we're getting close to knowing that chimpanzees will use an oven, a vacuum, and an iron, but they will not unload the dishwasher." I mean, what kind of... I can't think of a dumber... And something... I guess the whole point of this was something about how cooked food helped evolve. This was something about how separated man from chimpanzees. I don't understand why the article's just like didn't start off with how are taxpayer dollars how were tax dollars wasted? Because this was just nothing tax dollars. It wasn't like Bill Gates donated money to do this.
Yeah.
Anyway, if the end of the article they go, well, anyhow, the chimpanzees and the oven explains why Latino girls don't like sucking dick. I don't know why that would explain it, but
yeah, which race doesn't like sucking dick?
Liam, could you get back? Maybe Liam could come on the show and give us a little more about his experience.
He'll be our on the scene BJ expert.
On the prowl with the BJs. Maybe he could do like street interviews.
Yes. Call into our number and interview women on the street asking about BJs.
Yeah, Liam. Actually, I want you to define it. We want to explore this topic with you. Okay, next question. I think we have 800 more questions, so go at the same pace.
Are we doing
Jay.
another episode, or are we just rolling with it?
Oh, I don't give a crap. I thought next Friday we're doing a live episode, so we shouldn't just do 2 episodes tonight. Okay. Just keep going.
Okay. Liam writes, we understand the Marc and Jay would advertise anything. How about Nazi or white supremacy advertisement? If the KKK or anti-Semite racist groups would offer $857 every time you mention their website, would you do it?
Putyourjewinanoven.com. You should go to it. Jay, you want to mention it next time?
$857 a pop. Yes.
It's a good amount of money for the. The problem with that is that you probably would lose your audience on that one.
Really? We have 300 listeners. How many of them would leave?
Imagine. Okay, we have 300 listeners. We start doing that, and the listenership goes up.
I mean,
and then you don't want to do the show anymore. You're like, since we started mentioning Nazi memorabilia, our audience has really taken off, and I feel really bad inside.
Yeah. Infowars, we're really hot on Infowars. You would think that the regular listeners would know that we're just doing that for the money and not get turned off. I'm going to differ from you. I'm going to say I would not do that. I think I would do most things, but I'd say like pure hate groups I'm going to stay away from, or at least say I have a higher price for that. $857 an episode. I'm doing it. I would think our regular listeners would know we're doing it for the money and would.
Jay's like, I dropped out of school. We're recording 12 times a week.
That's a lot of money, man.
No, it is a good amount of money, but that's pretty bad.
I don't care. Nobody listens to the show. What is the best and cheapest way?
How would you? Let me see your. The website is GoNazi.com. Can you work that into a plug?
Think about it. Even if we split that.
No, I want to hear Jay. I want to hear your plug.
This episode is brought to you by GoNazi.com. The more Nazi, the better. Go Nazi.
When you want to hate and you can't find the right place, go Nazi.
Think about it. If we split that money and we did a weekly show, that would be $1,600 each per month.
Well, What if it was like Nazi date? That one I could get behind.
That would be a lot funnier. Yes.
Are you a lonely Nazi? Don't you hate when you meet girls and they all are tolerant of other races? Do you want to find girls who are not? Go to Nazi date.
Well, I still think we should make a farmersonly.com profile and try and date other farmers on the show.
Tell them Jay or Mark or just write Hail Hitler and you'll get 10% off your next purchase.
HailHitler.com/brink of sanity gets you 10% off.
HailHitler.com/brink of sanity. I feel bad because there were actual farmers out there. The farmers aren't treated that well, so they're either big industrial farmers or they're small farmers, and they get like kind of. I don't want to mess with the farmers. They make food. I like them.
I don't know. If they're desperate enough to go on a dating website just for other farmers, I kind of want to mess with them.
Do me a favor. Could you type gonazi.com in your computer so the FBI looks at your computer, not mine?
Please let us know if this URL is taken.
Go Nazi Date. NaziDate.com. Nazi Date would be pretty good. I'm gonna actually look for Nazi Date right now.
We have like a stats guy for our next podcast. We need like a Google guy for this podcast so they can Google all the stuff we're too scared to Google.
Nazi Date. I'm Googling it. There's no Nazi Date.
I'm shocked.
Well, let me try Nazi Date. Just like the Google, like the separate words. Say,
Oh no.
Oh no, that's the date of the Nazis. Hang on. Nazi dating. Nazi dating site comes up.
It really
Nazi
does.
mingle. The American squirm / Nazi dash mingle.
That's a real site.
NaziMingle.com.
NaziMingle.com.
Nazi mingle. Why join Nazi mingle? If you have considered trying Nazi dating online, Nazi mingle is the site for you. Nazi mingle is the online community created specifically for Nazi singles looking. This has to be real to find friends, romance, or marriage. Hundreds of thousands of single Nazis have joined us.
I swear you're
So
making
what
this
are
up
you waiting
right now.
for?
Are you not making this up?
I'm not. Everything's on the internet. Our founder, Adolf Hitler, eligible, and has pictures of pictures of from World War II. Klaus B. Klaus is quite an extraordinary fellow. How many butchers become known worldwide? Albert S. This is obviously this is not a real page.
Liam writes, "What is the best and cheapest way to get?"
Wait, hang on. Singles interested in neo-Nazi. Okay, Cupid.
Okay, Cupid has a section for neo-Nazis?
Welcome to the... Yeah, I guess so. I don't know if this is real. I don't know.
Okay.
Aryan dating page?
That I feel like is probably a real one.
Nazi dating site. Would you be upset if you found out your girlfriend cheated on you with a Nazi?
Would that make it any worse than just cheating on me in general?
I don't know why it would be, but Stormfront.org is a...
Oh, I know Stormfront.
Why do you know that?
Because it's like everyone who goes to InfoWars goes to Stormfront.
I knew how to be connected to InfoWars. What is Stormfront?
It's basically the same thing. It's a right-wing Republican racist.
We are a community of racial realists and idealists. We are white nationalists who support true diversity and a homeland for all peoples. Thousands of organizations promote interests. Okay, it's like a message board.
Oh, I have to read something to you from InfoWars.
Okay.
Because it is what I think is the funniest conspiracy I've ever seen on this site. So they've been talking about Jade Helm, which was a military exercise. And they are all convinced that it is the military training to take over the entire United States and put us all in concentration camps.
Sounds realistic.
FEMA camps. And they said this is going to happen between July 15th and September 15th. I can't wait for September 16th to see what kind of excuses they come up with.
The excuses will be, told you.
Yeah. So the article is called Jade Helm has already begun. Okay. So this guy says, I have had between 1 and 4 mysterious people on my rural property in San Jacinto County, Texas for the past 10 weeks. Folks who leave very little evidence, but who would like to let you know that they are there. For example, coughing, breaking large branches, etc., all hours of the day and night. They are conducting a campaign at night to keep me awake from getting a sound night's sleep and are employing technologies I won't go into, but will shock the average viewer. They are already busy in Southeast Texas. I'm an eyewitness with 10 weeks of experience, blah, 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 blah. So this guy thinks that the government has a special branch sent just to keep him awake by coughing and breaking branches in front of his lawn at night.
Seems realistic.
That's what I wrote. I wrote, wait, I'm confused. The government set up an operation to specifically keep you awake. And he actually responded, and it confirmed that, yes, that is what the government is doing.
Yeah, I mean, the government, they have their ways. I mean, Jay, I mean, it's not like it's demons keeping him up. It has to be the government.
So I just don't get how insane you could be where you hear coughing and branches breaking. And you think the government has set up a branch of the government to keep you awake for purposes of...
To tell you the truth, I heard the other night, I heard an owl, and I brought my family to a bomb shelter.
Liam writes, "What is
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Totally different topic. Totally different. I just thought this was an interesting piece of bit of trivia. Have you heard of the band The Melvins?
No.
Okay, so they're like a rock band. Never got really famous. Had a couple songs on the radio. Been around for like 10 plus years.
Actually, I think I have heard of them.
Yeah, I mean they're popular enough that like people have heard of them, but they're not like never like achieved major success.
Yeah, they never even had like a radio song.
No, they've had. I remember hearing. I think I had a Melvins album back in the day because they had like one song on the radio.
Okay.
But they had some modicum, some success. They've been touring. I heard the drummer for the band. So the drummer for the band apparently also was he was in Nirvana and left Nirvana for Melvins, and the guy who took over for him was the Foo Fighters guy,
Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
Was this the guy that was also in Soundgarden?
I don't know that much. I don't know. They didn't mention that in the
I read an article about a guy who was in Nirvana and the Soundgarden and got kicked out of both bands. I
know. So he was on the interview. He was on the Howard Stern show for the interview. That's where I got this interesting piece of trivia. But they didn't mention Soundgarden. They mentioned that he was in Nirvana, and then like whatever reason, like I guess he preferred to be in the Melvins. And chose wrongly, and they got Dave Grohl, fell in love with Dave Grohl, and obviously the rest, whatever. And he was on a couple of their early songs. But anyhow, he mentioned what his annual salary is. He just worked just as the Melvins. What do you think the drummer for a band like the Melvins makes a year?
$36,000.
He said between somewhere, like obviously years differ a little bit, but he said somewhere between $70,000, what was it, like between $70,000 and $100,000 a year.
I'm surprised it was that much.
I thought it'd be higher. I don't know why. I thought
For
like they've been around for this long and they tour.
Not even heard of.
Yeah, I guess I thought it'd be higher, but I guess you thought it'd be lower. So.
Yeah, I mean that's not a very popular band.
I guess maybe I thought they were a little more. I thought maybe you would have heard of them for some reason.
No, I mean I've seen the name, but I couldn't name one of their songs.
Let's see. If they don't have a Wikipedia page, then they're really not popular. But I think they probably do. They formed in 1983. They've been playing since then. Okay, go to the next question.
All right, Liam writes, "What is the best and cheapest way to get Wi-Fi? Fuck you, Time Warner, for raising my rates. They just raised my rates too."
I don't know. It gets more and more expensive every year. The best way? Here's the best way. Switch to another provider, like RCN or something like that. Time Warner will give you a great... You can't threaten. You actually have to do the switch, and then Time Warner will give you a deal for coming back. And so I did that, and Time Warner gave me some pretty good deal where I got a huge discount for 2 years, and then I didn't end up doing it again. But
then they jack it up after 2 years.
But for those 2 years, you got a much better deal.
Yeah.
I'm about to switch to I'm moving to the suburbs, and Jay knows that already. I'm just telling the listeners. But I think FiOS is Verizon FiOS, which I've always heard is pretty good.
I heard they're good, yeah.
So I'm kind of excited, but I'm sure it's the same crap.
Yeah, I mean I think my bill went from 60 to 72 over 1 year. It's pretty crazy. And that's just internet, nothing else.
Hey. Next.
Rosero writes, "Notice I did not say Rosario."
Well, you say it one way, I say another way. There you go.
Mark,
You say tomato, I say
tomato. Mark and Jay, what are your top 5 favorite songs? I'll start off. I would say number 1 is "Holding Me Up" by the Dandy Warhols. Number 2 is.
Are we going to go back and forth?
Okay, go back and forth.
And I don't even know how that goes.
Yeah, well, nobody knows the Dandy Warhols.
I've heard the Dandy Warhols, but why are you so obscure? Under Pressure by Queen. I love that song.
Well, that's a good song.
Yeah. More than like 2 people have heard of that song.
This is Holding Me Up. There you go. You can tell by the 3-second sample that it's amazing. "Time" by Pink Floyd.
See, I always thought about like what my number 1 song was, but I never had a top 5 in mind.
Yeah, I know. I'm probably going to struggle after number 2. It's actually really hard to do this off at the top of our heads.
I'm gonna try to think of like bands that I love, like songs I love.
"Time" by Pink Floyd was my number 1 for a really long time, so I'm definitely going to go with that.
Okay, they must have been insulted when they got kicked off by the Danny Warhols.
They were. They sent me a memo. They're like, "What the fuck?"
I'm trying to think of like my favorite Bob Dylan song would be. I love Bob Dylan. I know. My number 2 is Tangled Up in Blue. I love that song. That was my number 1 for a while, and Bob Dylan got annoyed when he got bumped.
We should do top 5 albums at some point because I feel like that would be a little easier. But
I think top 5 artists. Like that would be an easier one. But let's
that
go
would
with
be
the question that was asked, Jay. Don't go with the question you want.
top 5 genres of music. This is getting easier and easier.
Okay, so what's your number 3?
Right now, I'll go with "Not Your Fault" by AWOL Nation.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
I'm going to see them live in like 2 weeks.
Oh my god.
They're awesome.
Sure they are. Number 3 on here. I almost want to go with. I love "Hurricane" by Bob Dylan. Also, I'm not going to put that. I'm not going to put another Bob Dylan
That's a
song
great
here.
song. That's really good.
Which is a great song. Let's see, the Stones, "Beast of Burden." I really love. Oh, actually, no, not "Wild Horses." Maybe "Wild Horses."
I'll go with "Painted Black" by the Stones.
Yeah, that's a good one. What's wrong? Why'd you pick one that people actually know?
I'm not like I don't just do obscure things for everything.
The Pink Floyd one, obviously, not obscure. Let me see what else.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to come up with this stuff. I'm gonna go with you're having trouble, so I'll go with "Soft Parade" by the Doors at number 5.
Oh, an obscure Doors song. Great.
that was my college radio show. I would play all mainstream classic rock groups, but obscure songs by the groups.
That's wonderful. That's awesome. That must have been a great radio show no one listened to.
What, you don't think that's a good idea? You really want to hear the same like 5 songs you hear on classic rock radio stations?
No, but there's enough songs in classic rock that you can play a broad mix of songs and still do what people
But the
people
whole
know.
point of college radio is to play stuff you don't hear on mainstream radio.
Yeah, the best thing about college radio is no one hears it.
Well, it didn't help that my college radio station had a 2-mile radius.
Yeah.
I live 2 miles away from the college radio station. You could hear it in the front of my apartment, but not the back of the apartment.
That's great. You couldn't hear from your own apartment.
We all had to huddle in like the front of the apartment if we wanted to hear it. Yeah, I know it's hard to do a top 5. You want to just move on?
One that's gonna go for the rest of the show.
That would be excellent radio.
Excellent radio.
Guns N' Roses' "November Rain" is Mark's number 5.
Billy Joel. I don't know if it's really my top 5, but I really love this song lately. Summer Highland Falls.
From Billy Joel?
Yeah.
I have every Billy Joel album, and I don't even think I could name that song.
Type it in, play it. I can't play it here because you're not going to hear it on my computer.
I'm trying to see if I even have it.
I saw Billy Joel. He played it.
Oh, I do have that song.
Yeah, I think it's one of the ones that you just don't know the.
I rated it 3 stars out of 5.
Play it.
Cool. Yeah, 3 stars.
It's a good song. It's I guess it's a little more. It's not obscure. It's not really like it's one of his like hits, but not one of his like lesser known hits. Let's see if anyone else I can throw in there. I love All Along the Watchtower, Hendrix.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's really one of my favorites. Oh, I used to always say, Castles Made of Sand was one of my favorites.
Nice.
Okay, I'm done with this.
I would have to throw in like Orion by Metallica or maybe In the Evening. No. In My Time of Dying by Led Zeppelin.
Not bad. You know what I'm going to throw in here? Against the Wind, Bob Seger.
Oof, terrible.
Or very close. I love Bob Seger. Or Night Moves by Bob Seger.
I hate Bob Seger.
Well, so that makes one of us.
Matt is saying One by Metallica.
One, that's a great song.
It is. William says, Marc and Jay would get a lot more views if Jay did a live stream without his shirt and his Asian girlfriend joined him.
Would she have her shirt on?
I do have a shirt on. I have a red...
No, I'm saying, would your girlfriend have her shirt on?
Oh, yeah, I would think so, yeah. It would definitely get ratings if my girlfriend sat on my lap topless while we did the podcast.
Would you go Caitlyn Jenner for the show?
What, just wearing a wig against the white background?
It is. It is weird that they're like, okay, we have to call her a she now, but that she has balls, so we shouldn't have to apologize for accidentally calling her a he right now.
Right. I'm
all for people being happy, and I'm fine. Like if that's what Bruce Jenner wants to do, become Caitlyn Jenner, that's great. I'll try to remember your Caitlyn Jenner. But if I think there was a BBC interviewer or BBC like newscaster had to apologize for calling Caitlyn Jenner a he, when that's a pretty like I don't think it was just like just an automatic he's been doing for 30 years, calling it he.
Yeah, I wouldn't apologize for that, Jim.
You should have to apologize, and if people get it wrong, what's the big deal?
I'm also not too high on the whole Brave talk. I mean, the guy got a couple $100,000 for posing on the magazine, and he got a couple $1 million and
he's gonna get
a reality show.
Yeah,
so it's like, he's so brave to get millions of dollars for doing this.
Yeah, I still think it's cool that he's doing it because, or she's doing it just because it probably helped other people who are going through this.
Mm-hmm.
Just putting it out in the meat, but like, yeah, I guess how brave is it? Braver when you're like, I don't want money for this.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go through the surgery, but I would sure as hell cross-dress everywhere on the planet for a couple $1 million.
Right. It's not that brave when you're like, oh, I have a family of media whores here, so I'm just going to do what everyone else does.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, I don't blame her for trying to, well, might as well get money off of this, but yeah, the brave thing is...
It's going a little too far, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was too big of a story for what actually, here's the weird part of it. Mm-hmm. Is the Vanity Fair cover. You saw the cover, obviously, right?
Yeah, totally photoshopped.
Right. Why do they have to Photoshop that?
Because nobody's going to buy a magazine with an old dude with a wig on it.
But it almost makes it more insulting because you're like, you're trying to say, this is reality. He wants to be a woman. We should accept that. But even in reality, we can't really show what he looks like. Or she looks like.
I would be curious to see how many copies they would have sold if it really was just him with a wig on.
I just think it's really a weird, like, they can't just show what he actually looks like.
When I saw that picture, I'm like...
And does he have boobs? Does he have implants?
No, but he's taking estrogen, so it's like he's got, like, saggy man boobs.
And is he cutting off the cock?
I don't know. I didn't really get too into this story. Maybe he is. I don't give a shit.
Because until he does, I mean, you could refer to whatever. I guess I always kind of think and I don't know that much about this, so I'm not trying to be like I'm totally fine. If people want to do it, you have the money to do the surgery, you want to do the surgery, go for the surgery. But my guess is you're not solving your problems at this point. Maybe you're happier for a little while, but I feel like that.
What do you mean
wears
you're
off
not
your-
solving problems?
I mean, basically, these people are probably really depressed. They probably have a lot of issues, and there's probably some issues solved in the short run, but the issues just return, and they're still miserable.
I don't know. All those millions of dollars he's getting will probably.
That's probably right.
I'd feel much
I
better.
don't. Maybe it actually ends up working out, and they're much happier afterwards, and then it solves their problems. I don't know. There was some story I don't know if you saw it. I can't believe anything on the internet these days. But it was a story about this family where they had a young daughter, and like by the time she was like 7 years old, she was like basically wanted to be a boy, and they'd heard about like the suicide rate being really high for people that want to like switch what are they call transsexuals.
Yeah.
And they said like if you don't let them do it, like you're just gonna make them miserable. So they basically made her a boy. Just referred to a boy, and just like they're like, any of your friends didn't accept it, we just like, screw them, and like, and I can see like I have kids. If my son like came to me at like 7 years old, and was like, he really made a case to be a girl, and had been making it for years. Like, I love my kids. Like, I guess you would accept it, but at the same time,
I think 7's a little too young.
Yeah, it seems a little too young. It seems.
When I was 7, I wanted to be Chewbacca.
Well, did your parents like let you become Chewbacca?
No, I think that would be if they threw a shag rug over me and just let me scream around the apartment all day. I think it would have been a little weird.
Yeah, I just felt it was kind of. I just felt it was kind of a weird story, and I was just like, I guess like you love your kid. Like, I love my kids so much, but
When I was 7.5, I wanted to be Skeletor.
my
They didn't
son
let me
wants to
do
be
that either.
Batman. So
Yeah. I mean, every 6 months I wanted to be somebody else.
I
wanted to be Cobra Commander at one point. That would have been a little weird too.
yeah. So I guess I wonder if any of our listeners are a post-op transsexual. Can you let us know? I think we're probably big in that area.
Yeah, that's our.
Can you let us
number
know?
one
Has that
demographic.
improved your life? And I guess maybe if I knew more and they told me it was better, it's like it's like once you know a gay person, you're like much more accepting of gay people because you like actually know someone.
And if you're a
that's gay.
pre-op transsexual, don't you fucking dare call in.
Why?
Not experienced enough. We only want post-op transsexual.
We only want post-op. Yes. We want to hear
the real fucking deal. None of this pansy bullshit.
We've actually been looking for a post-op transsexual to be our co-host. So if you want to come up and co-host an episode, please call in.
The brink of transsexual.
We're going to do an entire podcast devoted to post-op.
William
what's
writes,
next?
holy crap, you had a guest from The Office, and it's a picture of you next to a picture of Toby from The Office, and I got to admit, I laughed a lot.
Well, A, I've definitely gotten that one before. And B, he's on TV. I would love to be as successful as he is. I'm pretty sure as a recurring but minor character in The Office, with residuals, I'm sure he lives a pretty good life if he never does anything else his whole life.
Yeah, that show's in syndication. He's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
We're getting messages that people can't post in the live chat. This is our first time doing a YouTube chat. No clue what the problem is.
When it's our 30th time doing the YouTube chat, we'll still have no clue what the problem is.
Yeah, really.
If you could actually figure out the problem is and message it in.
Somebody troubleshoot.
If you can
that
find
for
some
us.
way to.
You know, instead of stat guy, we need like tech guy.
I thought you were tech guy.
That's
I
the
know
sad
nothing.
thing. The sad thing is I am tech guy, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
So if the people that told you that they can't message could message through the way they're messaging you, how are you getting
Every
the message?
single person who is listening to the show, Facebook friend me and then Facebook chat me because that won't be inconvenient at all.
Well, they could post and make a message on Facebook. Just post.
I mean, we have people posting in the Facebook page. We have people messaging me in my
What about our
personal-
Instagram page, Jay? What about Pinterest? What's going on with that?
Oh my god, we did get a message in the Instagram.
Could you, Jay? By the way, I know you started reading the questions on Brink. You go so goddamn slow. We have 300 more questions to go, Jay.
Yeah, I know because you make
Move faster.
How am I supposed to move faster when you interrupt me on every single question I do?
Okay, go on.
Let's see. We have Liam writes, how many black friends does Mark have? Why do you get all the flack for not having Mark friends, black friends?
I didn't know. I hadn't got those questions till today's episode. But one good friend who's black.
All right.
I have one really good Asian friend. I have one. I hit every culture.
Mark has one of each just so he doesn't get shit.
Yeah.
Would Mark cuckold his
Dude,
wife?
Jay, what's your answer?
I am getting a message saying Instagram is a dead medium.
I could just go on the questions.
Would Mark cuckold his wife to spice up their marriage?
What exactly is the definition of cuckold? What would I be doing?
Isn't that where you just have your wife sleep with somebody else?
Ah, that sounds amazing. Could you move on with the questions?
I don't really. Is that what cuckold is?
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think that's what it is. I think to be cuckolded means your wife's sleeping with someone else, maybe in front of you, or you know about it.
Cuckold is historically referred to as a husband with an adulterous wife. Yeah. So why would that spice up your marriage?
I don't know. It seems to be a popular porn category.
I feel like I would just want violence after that. Okay. Why has Mark never?
Are there any questions directed to you?
Yes, I have a few coming up.
Okay, go.
Why has Mark's wife never said anything in the podcast?
I think she was commented. I think she was once on the show. I think she once commented. Did she ever? I thought there was one time she
I do think she commented once, so you have to download all 213 episodes to find that episode.
Yeah, I think there was one episode where she commented a little bit, but that's about it. I think she doesn't give a crap about our podcast. I think putting up with it is the extent of how much she likes it. She's never listened to an episode, I'm pretty sure.
If anybody knows anything about YouTube live shows and why people can't comment, let me know, because now I'm getting more messages on Facebook. Okay.
Well, maybe if someone can message Jay with an actual solution.
No, they're just commenting on the show now.
Oh, okay.
What are Mark and Jay's...
Are you reading the comments they're making? Or are they making anything that's worth reading?
Some. I read the one by Metallica.
Okay. Go on.
What are Mark and Jay's gay college experiences?
Jay and I had sex in college. Okay, go on. Next question.
Has Mark ever seen... Okay. Steven writes, has Jay ever thought about leaving his current girlfriend to run away with Fun Sponge and start a new life?
Ooh, I never heard the Fun Sponge episode, but I think you told me about her.
Yeah, I definitely told you about her. She's still emailing me. It's been about 8 years now.
Really?
No, it's been over 10, actually.
No, I mean, she still emails you?
Yeah.
What kind of emails did you get? Like, is it...
I got an email a month ago that said, hey, are you on Facebook? And I wrote, yep, are you? And she wrote, yeah, I can't find you. I'm like, oh, that sucks. What? Steven writes, what are the downloads?
Was she attractive?
No.
Okay.
No.
I guess she wouldn't be. She'd just be a attractive girl with a boring personality then. That you nailed a couple times.
I did not nail.
Mm-hmm.
Who my coworkers accused me of having an affair with, which I did not.
Okay.
They counted me hanging out with somebody as an affair, which is not.
Wait, was Fun Sponge while you were dating your current girlfriend? I thought Fun Sponge was someone you went on a date with.
It wasn't a date. That's the whole argument. It wasn't a date because I said as friends when we were hanging out.
I don't want to replay an entire episode of our show, but
it was episode 7. I'm pretty sure people didn't go back that far.
Okay, I'm just briefly. Who the hell was Fun Sponge?
I was living at my parents' house. We met on Friendster. I had a feeling this wasn't going to go well, so I said, let's hang out as friends. And it turned into an entire night of not fun stuff. But people were...
Were you dating anyone else at the time?
No.
So it was a date?
Yeah, well, why would it be a date? You can't hang out with somebody from the opposite sex without it being a date?
Well, if you met them online and you've never met them otherwise, yeah, it's a date.
Why? Even if
what
you
do you
say
mean?
Friend a million times, just because it's the opposite sex?
How
it's
many
a
times
date?
had you interacted online?
Does that matter?
Yes, if you
you say
interacted
the word
once,
friend,
if
it's
you
not
had a
necessarily
10-year history of being pen pals online, then I'd say,
No,
okay,
I
we're just
disagree.
friends.
I disagree.
Tell me how many times
Lauren,
did you interact?
who's been on the show a million times, and I met on Craigslist as friends, and it was never a date.
Just answer me the question. How many times did you interact with this Fun Sponge prior to meeting her?
I don't know. Let's say 5.
What? You're just making random opposite sex friends on Friendster?
Yeah, why not?
How did you even meet her on Friendster?
I got a message that said, "Hey, my name is so and so." That's it.
Yeah, it was a date. Okay, if you'd liked her, you would have said it was a date. Because you didn't like her, you said it wasn't a date. You guys hung out.
No. Had a feeling it was going to go bad. So before we even hung out, I used the word friend. I said, "Hey, let's hang out as friends.
You hung out.
We'll meet up at 8:00 as friends." I said the word friends like 4 times before we ever met in person.
As friends, we went to dinner. Then we went to a movie. We sat next to each other. I held the door for her.
I said as friends in our chats, in our emails before we ever met up. I said, let's hang out as friends.
Okay, it was a date. Let's move on.
You and my coworkers would get along real well.
Come on. This is like it's just a bullshit. It's like my friend who said, "Oh, that girl was just my friend that I hung out with a couple times over the year." I'm like, you were dating her and sleeping with her and kind of ruining her life. We were just friends.
Nope. Matt asked if I sent down the scout. I never did anything with this girl, and it's been 11 years, and I'm still getting messages.
Okay. Well, maybe if you had just said it was a date, she wouldn't be messaging you anymore. She thinks we're friends. I could stalk her for the rest of the restaurant.
It wasn't a date.
Well, maybe it should have been, because then she'd be out of your life.
Listen to episode 7. You guys will agree with me. It's not a date. Steven writes, what are the downloads like now for Brink of Sanity? They are the same as they have been for a while.
We're doing more episodes of them.
Depressingly, I don't like them.
If we get more iTunes reviews, they'll be the same also.
Steven writes, do you guys advocate me dropping out of school and all of life activities to pursue a career as full-time historian of the Negaverse? I do. I think that would be an excellent life decision.
What's the Negaverse again?
This show.
Oh.
Our logo says, then enter the Negaverse.
I don't think I've ever looked closely at our
I've
logo.
never seen our own logo. That's great. Does Jay ever get afraid of Mark's rising star power? It's possible that someone could swoop in and pay him to star in a rival podcast. Well,
Jay, let's just say, obviously, I'm not the star of the show, and obviously, I would not get a job. Let's just say someone came in and that literally happened. They were like, "I'm going to pay you. We got to leave Jay behind." Would you be insulted, Jay?
No, you make 0 pennies a minute here.
Yeah, no, and they were like, the requirement is Jay can't come with you. I'd be like, okay,
right, and I'd be like, well, Mark was doing the show for free, and now he's not.
What if the requirement was that they're going to pay me a good salary, but the requirement was that I had to trick you to coming along with me, but you still wouldn't get paid?
Well, when I found out, I would quit and go back to doing this for free.
Oh, okay.
Could we get more ladies on the show? It's been a total sausage fest lately.
By lately, you mean how many episodes even have women on them? Like 3 episodes?
Probably about 30.
Who's been on the show?
Well, you want me to name all their names?
I don't actually. Let's just work on who.
You probably were on almost none of those.
I was on one with other women.
I'm sure you were on with Lauren because she's been on like almost 20 times.
There was someone else, like a coworker of yours.
Possibly. I mean, we used to have a lot. A lot of them decided to have babies and then say, "Oh, I'm too busy because I got to take care of this baby."
Yeah, I've got a baby. I'm on the show. Come on, bitch.
Exactly. Mark has 2 fucking babies. He's on the show.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck?
So I don't know what your excuse is, women.
Okay, we'll get more women. How about all the women out there that listen to the show? If any of you want to be a guest in the show, let us know.
There you go.
And if you know anything about post-op transsexuals or Nazi dating, that would be helpful.
Alex, who has been on the show a bunch of times, said, are you planning on going to SantaCon 2015? Should they have one in New York City?
I know Jay hates it at this point, and so I bet the answer is no.
I think SantaCon has died a slow death. I think this year they had it from 10 to 12 in the morning in New York City and then shoved everyone off to Brooklyn. It used to go from 10 in the morning until about 3 in the morning. And people hated it more and more, and now it's basically like a thing they tolerate for a few hours.
I never did SantaCon, and I wouldn't do it now, but I wish I did it like 10 years ago.
I got to say it was amazing when I first started going.
Yeah, it seems pretty. It seems like it's pretty cool. Well, pretty. Like, seems like it would be pretty fun. I just never did it. But
The thing is, it got so big, a bunch of amateurs started going, and then it turned into like just like frat guy like shit fest.
yeah.
Stephen writes, "Can we get an episode update on the rock star? How about an episode where we discuss Dean's new book with him? Interviews with people are fun."
Who?
The rock star is a professional wrestler that we had on the show.
Oh, yeah,
After
I've heard of
he-
that.
After he was on the show, he actually won the championship belt.
Really? What thing? What wrestling federation?
FTW, Fight the World Wrestling.
Fight the world.
I think he switched leagues. I don't know what league he's in now, though. So I'm not sure if he has. I don't think he has the belt in the new league, but I think he's like one of those like up and coming wrestlers. Well, we could talk to him. I went to high school with him. Dean is on his third book, so maybe we'll talk to him about one of those books.
You writing books about wrestling?
No, not about wrestling.
What are the books about?
Well, they're all different books.
Is it the wrestler guy with the books?
No. Dean.
Oh,
Dean,
there's
Dean
another
from
person?
Australia is a different guy. We have so many listeners; it's hard to keep track.
I feel like I've been on the show a number of times, but I don't know any of the stuff you're talking about. Go on.
Well, the guy who's writing this is listening to all the episodes, and now he's in like the first 100 episodes where like you were hardly on them.
Okay. But what are the books about?
Well, we'll let him talk about it.
Okay, just have him back on. Maybe he can
Yeah,
explain.
exactly. Okay, so Rosero, no, wait. Oh, yeah. Stephen writes, does the one penis per room rule still apply if Jay and Mark are watching Jay's Asian girlfriend and Mark's wifey get it on? I have a one penis per room rule at all times.
Yeah, I still go with the one penis. Yeah.
Yeah. It's more than one's too many. Ali writes.
Well, I guess if you're just watching them get it on, it's different than because you're a strip club. There are many penises in the room.
Yeah, but I think he's asking like if we're both watching, are we just gonna like start whacking
Yeah,
in front
I
of
think
each
that's what
other?
I meant.
And that's not gonna happen. Let's see. Alex is writing. When will it be a time for another 240-ounce podcast? Well, Bry is coming next weekend, so maybe we should do that.
What was the 240s?
Yes. I think I did an episode with Alex where I drank 240s and blacked out.
How about scotch or bourbon instead?
Let's just say there's going to be a lot of drinking next week's show. Because Mark is going to move to the suburbs, and Bry comes out once every 7 years. So this is going to be like a once-in-a-lifetime podcast. So it should be interesting.
We'll say. I still have to. I'm going to come over, but I don't know how much I'm going to drink. I'm going to drink, but I still have to wake up at like 4 to 5 a.m. So
What? Really?
I'll drink. No, you don't know how awful it is waking up at 5 a.m. every morning.
You can't get like a let me sleep in pass for one night?
I'll see what I can do.
I mean, this is like a once-in-a-decade situation now.
It is true. It is true. I may also be once after a couple drinks. I may be convinced to have more drinks.
That'll be my plan. Be like, yeah, your wife just told me you could have 7 more. That's fine.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Let's see. Ali writes, Mark, you need to go to the club and get some big booty hoes twerking all up on that pole, singing, going up and down, throwing that ass for days, booty going up, down. I ain't got no problem spending all my money. Oh, he thought Mark was going to read that, so that's why he wrote it like that.
Okay. Now we have a post podcast plan for next week.
I feel like I read that way better than you would have read that.
That's the point.
Most embarrassing stories from last week. Can you give me 30 seconds? I have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, we're back. Was that it? I think that was it for the Brink Facebook question.
Oh, we went through 40
no, no, no.
questions. You got this week's questions too, right?
Yeah. We have one more from this week, and then I did all of them, and then we just have the ones in the next group.
Yeah.
The
Mark
last
should go to
one
the
is-
club at bottles, pop bottles.
Yeah. Most embarrassing stories.
What about the William Jew landlords are the worst?
I didn't really know how to handle that one.
You don't want to mention his rant. I assume he I don't know what the fuck. I'm just looking at the Jew landlord thing. It's okay, Mark and Jay. There are others like me, men who are pissed off and feed up their groups out. There's a structure. I don't know how to read this.
That's why I skipped it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So
See, I'll read everything. Basically, you won't read everything.
right, because you just wasted time when you started to read everything.
Okay. I'll go to the New York Knicks one. Okay.
No, most embarrassing stories
Oh, from last week?
from childhood, teenage moments.
Oh, I don't know.
You had
I thought-
2 weeks to think of this, and you haven't come up
I
with
thought
any?
zero. I thought more about the fact that Nick should take Willie Cauley-Stein, maybe.
Yeah, unbelievable.
What's your story, Jay? Just tell us one story. Let's move on with questions.
You want, instead of a top 5, you just want to do a top 1 just by one of us?
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds like a great.
I don't feel like reliving my youth on the show. I can't think of anything in particular. Tell me what yours is. Maybe I'll be inspired. Tell me yours.
You had a great life.
I didn't have. I didn't have a great life. I have nothing to share.
You can't think of more than 0 things that were embarrassing about growing up. Yeah.
I
Sir,
one time
I would like to trade
I remember,
childhoods with you.
I think in 5th grade I was we were doing sit-ups in gym class. I farted and the entire class laughed.
You can't think of one.
I thought that was an embarrassing story.
You can't think of one not made up embarrassing story.
Just tell me your story, Jay.
You really made up your embarrassing story?
I didn't make up that story, but go on.
My first kiss was terrible.
Tell us all.
I didn't know how to kiss, and it was this really, really hot girl, and I thought the way you make out is to open your mouth as wide as you can, and she kind of got annoyed and stopped kissing me. And I could have slept with the hottest girl in the school, but instead, I didn't.
Instead, you didn't.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
That's
cool.
not good.
I don't know. I haven't really thought about this.
I had a nosebleed in the middle of class once.
You're right. These stories are riveting. Go on.
Well, you don't think that's embarrassing?
It must be
I
amazing.
put that in my top 5. You know, high school is not really the place you want anything to go wrong. High school is
Yeah.
basically like physically trying to do everything normal because everyone's going to tear you apart for the slightest offense.
Basically, life is that no one's normal, but high school is the only place where you think you're supposed to be normal.
Well, if you're not, like people, really, I think it's everyone else's job in high school to just stare at other people until they do anything out of the normal, and then just make fun of them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, it's true.
That's basically what high school is.
I did not lead a blessed life, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Maybe I still want to relive my youth.
First time a girl asked me out was pretty awkward.
What did she say?
She said, "Do you want to go out with me this Friday?"
And you said just friends, though, right? Just friends.
I said I was an idiot. I couldn't go out that Friday, and I said something like I had a dentist appointment. I said, "Oh, I have a dentist appointment this Friday," and she just stood there like waiting for me to say, "How about Saturday?" And
This was the second hot girl at school.
No, she was kind of good looking though, and I really kind of regret that. And I just kind of we kind of just stood there staring at each other, and she was waiting for me to say, "How about Saturday?" And I didn't, and then we stared at each other for a few more seconds, and then it kind of just awkwardly dissipated. Okay, since you're not coming up with any of these, I'm not going to keep like.
Finish your list, Jay.
No. Let's move on. Go to the next.
Okay, I'll think of for next week.
Yeah.
Rosero writes, Brink of Sanity is not a sports podcast, just saying. Steve writes, why do the Mets, Giants, Knicks, and Rangers drive me to drink?
The Giants win like every 5 years. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think you meant the Jets, not the Giants.
Yeah.
I'm a Dog writes, I want a podcast about J.R. Smith. Call it Nick's Podcast or Brink of Sanity. I don't care. Did you enjoy J.R. Smith in game one?
Oh, yeah. 3 for 13. Loved it.
I love the fact he scored 9 points in the first quarter, got Cleveland fans excited, and did nothing the rest of the game.
Right now, they're probably like, well, huh? What's going on? Is this why Knicks fans were so happy to see him go?
I mean, he's also now the number 2 player on the team.
Yep.
Arguably.
Which is awesome.
I was listening on the radio. They were talking about. They're like, well, I mean, like you have to. JR's only time he's ever good. He has to be a pop-up shooter. He has to basically be just catch and shoot. That's all he can do. And I was like, the one time he was good with the Knicks is when he was driving to the basket.
Don't tell them that.
I was like, that's what he needs to do. That's what the only time he said glory for the Knicks was when he was driving. He was obviously catching and shooting, but also like driving to the basket was a big deal.
Yeah.
And we were screaming, clamoring for him like to drive to the basket. But how mad would you be if like he averages like 20 points a game the rest of the series?
It would be so. Well, it depends. If he goes like, 9 for 40.
What do you do with your microphone?
It's sounding like shit, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't address the fact that it sounds like shit, though. Just keep going. Keep talking.
No, I think it's okay now. I just fixed
Okay.
it. Yeah, I mean, if you went for like, 9 for 40 but got 20 points, I'd be totally fine with that.
That'd be awesome. Do you think they're going to get swept?
No. I think LeBron's going to have one super ridiculous game and get like 60 points.
He kind of looked unstoppable. I don't know why he chose not to shoot anymore in the overtime.
He's always been like that.
I mean, he really just like he was doing great, and then like overtime, he just stopped. I know what's his name was doing a great job guarding him, but come on.
Yeah.
Rogers writes, Steve writes, okay, a more serious question. I'll keep it the same theme as the one below. Favorite bars, restaurants in the MSG area?
Around 34th Street, I try to avoid that area at all possible.
It's a pretty bad. There's a couple bars, I can't remember the name, but they're like right across the street, though. They aren't bad. If you're going to a Knick game, it's like a good bar. The good bars to hit like right before the game.
Right.
Or after.
If you're on the east side, not the west side.
No, on the west side, like right, like a block away, a block or two away.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I mean, they're not like great bars, but they're like big bars, and they have lots of TVs and stuff.
The one that has like the second deck and there's like a balcony.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a bar you'd go to any other reason, but you're in the area.
Right. The only reason to go there is if you're pre-partying before the game. Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
hope that was helpful.
really not. Sean writes, what cartoons do you cringe at when your kid is watching them? For me, it's Uncle Grandpa. I've not heard of Uncle Grandpa, but it's Caillou by a mile. Have you heard of Caillou?
No.
He was actually John Oliver made fun of him. It's this bald little kid who I think might be Canadian, who nothing happens to him. Nothing happens to him.
Sounds
He
like
an
an
entire
Walking Dead.
episode. He goes with his grandpa to the park, meets one of grandpa's friends, and that's the episode.
Sounds like an episode of The Walking Dead.
It does, yeah. It's unbelievable. There's nothing. He like learns how to like mail a letter, and that's the episode.
We're gonna have to talk about that soon. I watched 3 episodes today. So
What are you up to with Walking Dead?
let's see. I watched one episode where it was Beth gets caught by people in a hospital.
This is the theme going forward with the rest of the season.
That was
on.
the entire episode. The next episode, Eugene tells the group that he is not really a scientist.
Yeah, that was a.
That was the entire episode.
You see, I wish he had been the scientist. I hope you're a Walking Dead fan, are following this. But which is actually, I hope you're not a Walking Dead fan because the last season's been terrible. But I told Jay that they divide the seasons up into 2 halves, and the first episode of the second half is maybe the worst episode I've ever seen of a show that's supposed to be good.
I'm gonna watch it. I was about to quit the show entirely, but Mark's like begging me to get to this episode.
Jay said like, "Oh, what about the cabin episode?" I mean, that was horrendous. I'm like, the cabin episode was kind of enjoyable in comparison. I didn't even hate that episode. I think it's either the first or the second episode. I don't remember for sure. I think it's the first episode, and it is gruesomely awful. It is just so boring.
Well,
It's
Eugene
not even
lied
boring.
in the,
It's like beyond boring. It's that you hate the show while you're watching it.
Eugene lied in the comic, so I was expecting that. But it took them, 45 minutes to do that.
It would have been a cool story arc just to see them try to actually reverse the zombie thing, but I kind of figured that was not true because I thought the show there was I thought there was no part of the show where they actually try to figure out how to actually solve it.
No, I'm not mad that he was lying. I was mad that nothing happened for 44 minutes, and then he was like, "Oh, I was lying about it."
Yeah, and when he screwed up their fire truck, you knew they had something was up.
That was stupid.
But it was would you like the show better if they were trying to cure you like the fact they don't try to cure the zombie thing?
Yeah, that's fine with me. I think that's totally fine. I think it would be hokey if they were able to fix it.
Or they just had like an arc going with like they were trying to figure out a way to do it.
I mean, I guess they could have an arc, but it wouldn't make sense. None of them are scientists.
Well, Eugene would be a scientist. If Eugene character was real, I guess.
The sleeveless hillbilly tries to scientifically solve the zombie problem. All right, next question. Then the episode after that was kind of shitty too.
Ali writes, "Why not both? Why not Nix and Brink? Some weeks we'll do Nix and Brink. Maybe next week we'll do Nix and Brink."
This week was literally no new rumors, nothing happening, and only one finals game. There's really no point in doing a show this week.
It's just when it's not the Knicks season, when it's the off season, it's a lot harder to do a show.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do. Obviously, we'll have things coming up for the playoffs. Not for the playoffs, for the draft and for the free agency. But I don't know.
I just don't want to talk about Willie Cauley-Stein for like the 7th straight episode.
I am coming around on Willie Cauley-Stein. You just see him hitting those jumpers.
I'm coming around on him. I just don't want to talk about him for like 7 straight hours.
What's your take though? He does. I was kind of shocked how. I mean, I know it's probably.
Let's not do Nick stuff.
Okay, fine, whatever. And George writes, "No," because apparently he wanted the Knicks show, not the Brink, because the Knicks is a better show. More people listen to that show.
Great. Okay.
What are you doing over there?
I'm fixing my mic.
Okay, you do that at the end of the show. I think that is our show. I don't think we have anything else.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah, there weren't many on the next page.
Oh, great. Okay. Excellent.
We did do 40. Were there any emails?
Oh, fuck.
I guess that's like a yes.
Yes, there were. Let's see.
I guess you're too busy doing the Facebook questions, Jay.
Mm-hmm. So Lorenzo writes, so I searched for the Brink app in Google Play, and the top 2 results were 1, Fuck It button, a hilarious gag app that plays 10 different fuck it phrases, and the Chupacabra movie audiobook. Does the app really exist? Are you guys Chupacabra?
Where was Chupacabra?
The app is no longer existing.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, because they changed it from, hey, the app will be free for us to provide to listeners, to, hey, why don't you guys spend $8 a month for an app?
Oh.
And since I only made, I think, 76 cents per app that was purchased, that would mean we would need to sell, I don't know, a lot of apps just to break even, like something like 12 a month just to break even, and we're not selling 12 apps a month.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, there's no more app. Lorenzo writes, I learned something last episode. Bry really loves questions. I lost track of the number of times he was like, where's the question? And there's no question in there. If you're a listener and you write in, make sure you ask a question, otherwise Bry will chew you up. So I've
not noticed that. That's pretty funny.
He did do that a lot last episode. So here's my question. What are the worst movies you have actually seen at the cinemas? If you see a shit movie at home, that's not so bad. But at the cinemas, you would be like, I paid $15 to see this. My top 2 that stand out way ahead of anything else, Hidalgo and Daredevil.
Oh, well, the TV show is so good. I'm surprised the movie was so bad.
I did not see the movie. Because I do not care about Daredevil.
Are you going to watch the show? I think you'd like it, Jay.
I'll let you watch a few more episodes. If you give it a thumbs up, I'll watch it.
Okay, I'm still 5 minutes into the second episode.
Right. If you like it by episode 5, I'll watch it.
Okay. I'd say these are shows that I saw with females. Mostly, let's say, The Holiday.
I don't even know what that is.
It's some movie with Cameron Diaz, maybe, and some other female where the people swap houses. And at some point, Jude Law cries, and I was crying already about how bad the movie was. It was one of these romantic comedies. It was horrendous.
Mine was, what is that movie where that blonde bimbo goes to Harvard?
Oh, Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde. I walked out. It was the only movie I ever walked out on.
That's one of my wife's favorite movies. There's one where Nicolas Cage becomes an angel. It's got a cool. It's actually got a really good Goo Goo Dolls song in it. City of Angels or something like that. It's horrendous.
Yeah, it sounds great.
All you got to hear was Nicolas Cage becomes an angel, and you're
yeah, Nicolas Cage is like, sometimes he's really good, but if it's a movie like that could be really bad.
Is there I haven't really researched this, but is there a story about how Nicolas Cage owes like hundreds of millions of dollars to someone? Because that's the only explanation I have for the movies he makes. He seems to just say yes to every, without even reading the script.
I know, really.
He must owe money to the government or something. There has to be a reason that he puts out he's a good actor and he's in a lot of good movies. Not a lot, but some good movies. But he's in so many bad movies.
I know.
And movies that they only look like you're like, is this for real? Is this poster I'm seeing in the subway? Like, what?
Peter writes, I think this is the last email. We are thebrinkofsanity@gmail.com. On Twitter, we are brinkofsanity3. If you want to leave a voicemail, it's 631-676-1181. We are The Brink of Sanity on Twitter. And we have a Brink of Sanity page on Facebook. And please leave us a review on iTunes. Did that cover everything?
See, Left Behind, Outcast, Rage, Joe, Frozen Grounds, The Croods, Stolen,
Are you
Ghost
just saying
Rider,
a bunch of random words?
Trespass, Seeking Justice, Drive Angry.
Oh, you're naming
Season of the
Nicolas
Witch.
Cage movies. I was trying to plug the show, and you just
whatever.
started naming movies.
The Sorcerer's Apprentice, Kick-Ass, which was really good. Astro Boy, Bad Lieutenant, which was
Kick-Ass was awesome.
Dude, Kick-Ass was really good. G-Force, Knowing, Bangkok Dangerous. Bangkok Dangerous is the one I saw the poster and I was like, come on. Is this really like, he must really need money. National Treasure, which I know he did well with. Next, Grindhouse, Wicker Man, World Trade. What the?
Okay, there's a lot of bad movies. Peter writes, I had a question for Jay that's not Nick's related. I was wondering if you saw any previews for the movie Ant-Man. Despite the lackluster title and the general plot idea, it actually looked decent. Also, have you seen Age of Ultron yet?
I'm going to jump in. I saw the preview for Ant-Man, and is he kidding?
Wait, you didn't think it looked good?
It looks so stupid. I mean, I guess it looks like the whole concept of Ant-Man seems really ridiculous to me.
I have not seen the preview. I know that I really like the character Ant-Man from the Avengers comics, but I'm very skeptical about a movie based on him.
It looks really bad.
Because the whole idea is he's one of the original Avengers, which is why I'm kind of annoyed he wasn't in the Avengers. I'm not sure if he could hold his own movie.
My son watches an Avengers cartoon, which he gets a little violent afterwards, so I have to limit. But
and I have not seen the new Avengers movie either, but I will. I'm a little behind. I got to watch Captain America 2 and Thor 2 before I watch Avengers 2.
Probably not going to watch any of those in any order. But I did wear a Flash T-shirt today, and my son got really excited.
You don't like those movies, or you're just not going to watch them?
I'm just not going to watch them. I'm sure they're fine movies. I'm just never going to watch them. I watched part of the first Avengers.
You didn't like it?
It was okay.
First Avengers.
I thought I'd be more interested in it, and I just wasn't.
Oh, I thought the first one was awesome.
Was it?
Yeah, I thought it was like my favorite superhero movie. Okay.
I superhero movies I watch. I'll watch Batman movies, Spider-Man movies. I've always meant to watch the Hulk. I thought that would be interesting to say. I like the Hulk TV show better.
Watch the Edward Norton Hulk movie, not the other one.
Yeah, I heard that one was actually a pretty good movie. That's the one I've been meaning to watch, but I never watched. That's the first one, right?
No, that's the second one. The other one was bad.
Oh, that's the second one. Okay, the one with Ed Norton I heard was good. I didn't know which one it was.
Yeah. That one watch. The other one don't. I'm
pretty sure Ed Norton, like anything you're like, watch someone with Ed Norton. Don't even have to look at the title of the movie. It'll probably be a good movie. He's like the opposite of Nicolas Cage. He's like, I'm only going to be in good movies.
He's a really good actor.
Yeah.
All right, are we done?
Yes. At the longest episode we've ever done. Yes.
All right. So, thank you for listening, everybody. Please leave an iTunes review.
Jay, why didn't we break this up into 2 episodes? It would have been a good idea.
I hate you. We'll be back next week with all of us in the same room.
It'll probably be us talking over each other and not figuring out that we're not good in the same room.
Should be interesting anyway. First time we've been in the same room ever. Have you ever met Bri in person?
I've never met Bri. Jay knows Bri separately from knowing me. I've never met Bri. I've only known him for the show.
Should be interesting.
So it'll be interesting. Maybe we will go to fisticuffs.
And if anybody knows how to get the chat to work in the live room, let me know.
If you know that, you might have one up on us.
Yes, because apparently there's people in the room and they have not been able to type even once.
Made the live show really worthwhile.
Yeah, it really, really helped a lot. So thank you, everybody. We'll be back soon.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye, bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye.